What's that? Yeah, absolutely. And tell them yes. Absolutely, 100%. Me too. I know. What do? I can't get them in here.
We talk on the phone all the time. I'm a recruiter out of Naples. It just clicked
Well,
with
the
me.
name sounded familiar.
It just clicked with me too. So I'm the voice on the other end that you just, I don't, glutton for punishment would answer the phone.
Yeah, okay. I got it. Yeah.
So I've only done that for 25 years. This is,
This is your sideline stuff.
well, this is fun.
This is your fun stuff.
This is fun now. So who knew that I liked this?
All right, good morning. If we could get everybody seated here. I'm already 7 minutes behind, as Miss Holly is reminding me. You guys are going to make me look bad on my first meeting. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I'm Mark Stevens. I'm your chair for 2023 at the Horizon Council, and a pleasure to be here. Let's go ahead and start the March 24th meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd all please stand now that you've sat. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I apologize in advance for some folks. I know they have to run out like Holly to go to another task force meeting, which is so important to our community. So if you see some people leave, that's probably where they're going. Let's go ahead and do some member introductions.
Good morning. My name is Holly Smith, and I am president of the Horizon Foundation.
Good morning. I'm Ray Sandelli, Lee County Commissioner, District 3.
Ben Siegel, Lee County Port Authority.
Robbie Webster, Edison National Bank, Bank of the Islands, and represent Industrial Development Authority.
Helen Edenfield, treasurer.
Guido Manai with Manai Learning Global Solutions and Vice Chair of the Horizon Council.
Good morning, Laura Carr, City of Bonita Springs Council.
Keith Long, Cape Coral City Council, District 6.
Good morning, Gary Tasman, Cushman & Wakefield Commercial Property, Southwest Florida, and Chairman of the Business Issues Committee.
Bob Koenig, Christel Construction, Chair of Sports Council Committee.
Karen Moore, Southwest Florida Business Today, and Chair of the Inclusion and Diversity Committee.
Sam Fisher, Vice Chair of the Lee County School Board.
Gerard Carrington, Associate Vice President of Florida Gulf Coast University.
Good morning, Jay Johnson with Bubba's Roadhouse, representing the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association.
Good morning, Ryan Richards, RG Architects, representing the American Institute of Architects.
Good morning, Randy Chris Commercial Group, representing the Lee County Port Authority Airport Special Management Committee.
Good morning, Mark Bless, Promberger Restaurant Group, representing the Sanibel Captiva Chamber of Commerce.
Hey everyone, Jordan Azis, representing the Greater Estero Chamber of Commerce.
Mary Gentile, Landquest Property Management, Member at Large.
Good morning, Gary Griffin with B&I Contractors. I'm a Member at Large.
Good morning, Joseph Janashka, SunWest Bank, a Member at Large.
Good morning, Bev Larson, Lahaina Realty, Member at Large.
Good morning, Adam Palmer, LQ Commercial, Member at Large. Dean Picciarello, HBKS Wealth Advisors, Member at Large.
Matt Repsdorf, Pratt & Whitney, Member at Large.
And congratulations, Matt. This is Matt's first meeting as Member at Large. Voted in. Yeah. I thought we were trying to keep this organization within Gators, but apparently we needed to diversify. So welcome, Seminole.
Ernest Wilkes, Regions Bank, Member at Large. Mike Biskey, B&I Contractors, representing CareerSource, Southwest Florida.
John Wright, Sandcap Bank, Member at Large.
Good morning, Matthew Zwak with Owen Ames Kimball, member at large.
Good morning, Bill Johnson Jr., Horizon Foundation Executive Director.
Good morning, Amanda Kent, Lee County Economic Development Office.
Good morning, Evelyn Valdez, EDO.
Good morning, Jennifer Rodriguez, EDO.
Tatum Walker, Economic Development.
Good morning, Dana Brunette, Economic Development.
Teresa Blau Mitchell with Sperry Commercial, representing CCIM.
Nancy Carista, representing SHRM, Southwest Florida.
Eileen Buchanan, SCORE Association, Volunteer Mentor.
Good morning, Jack Martin, Century 21 Commercial and President of Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association.
Good morning, Alan Canfield, representing Sheriff Carmen Marcino in the Lee County Sheriff's Office.
Good morning, Richard Durling with Marvin Homes, representing the Lee Building Industry Association.
And Warren Balcom, Lee County Economic Development Office.
Great. Well, thanks once again for everybody joining. Our first order of business is the approval of the general membership meetings. Believe it or not, our last general membership meeting was on November 18th. Wow, that was a quick motion to approve. Thank you. Got a meeting to go to. Do I hear a second? All in favor? All right. Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, for my chairman's report, I promise my report won't always be this long, or I'll try to promise, but there's some really important things that have gone on and are about to take place since our last meeting back in November. So I want to talk about a little bit about the Industry Appreciation Awards. We had a phenomenal turnout, and I really think that's one of the events that really embodies what we do here at the Horizon Council to get everybody together. But so that was held on February 10th. In 2021, just to add a little color to it, we had 590 attendees. This year we had 670 attendees. So attendance was up more than 10%. So that was great to see everybody out. The annual meeting, which we stacked these meetings since we had to push them back. So 2 weeks later we had our annual meeting. Normally we have about 225 people there. We had 250 at that meeting as well. So great turnout for all, and hope to continue that. I want to talk a little bit about the work that our committees are doing, but those of you that are interested in getting more involved in the Horizon Council, the committee work is really where it starts. So it's fine to come to these meetings, and we're happy to have everybody at these meetings, but if you really want to dig down a little bit deeper and get involved, the committees are where it's at. So we've got all of our committee members sitting over here. Our sports committee chair is Bob Koenig. Bob's doing a lot of great work. One of the things that I think is of top focus is the Tip-Off Classic. That's always been a big event for us. This year, it was restrained a little bit by the hurricane and the availability or non-availability of hotel rooms and other things. So I know they're working hard to bring that back to the event bigger than it's been in the past. The Inclusion and Diversity Committee, headed up by Karen Moore. I sat in on the first meeting, and wow, what a lot of energy in a 2-hour meeting. So we appreciate your passion and the things that you guys are doing. One of the major things that they're working on this year is increasing connectivity to the minorities in the community and in businesses. And then Business Issues Committee. This one's going to be a huge one this year, and Gary Tasman has chaired this for the past couple years. And they're tackling lesson learned and best practices based on our experience from Hurricane Ian. So there's a lot of organizations that are working on different facets of how we deal with the aftermath of the hurricane, but we're going to focus a little bit, or Gary's going to focus a little bit about the lessons learned and some, how to maybe do a little bit better preparing for another event that hopefully doesn't happen. So hopefully all your work is fruitless, but I doubt that will be the case. So I appreciate that. And then the other important task force that's going on that the Horizon Council is not heading up is the Recovery Task Force that's headed up by Kevin Ruane. So fortunately, we have dozens of community leaders that are on that task force, and many of those community leaders are within our own Horizon Council. So we'll have a big voice in the direction of that and what comes out of that. So again, that's why we've got 4 overlapping meetings, but to try to change a Horizon Council meeting is kind of like an act of Congress. So we're missing a few people here today that are going to be at that. But we're looking for great things to come out of that. It's not going to be something that happens in 6 months or a year or 2 years. It's going to be an evolutionary process, but we appreciate Commissioner Wayne's dedication to that mission. Some other highlights I wanted to mention is, I'm sure probably everybody knows by now, but Lee County was given, or is being given, $1.1 billion in disaster relief from HUD. So $1.1 billion. That's a lot of money. And of course, we need a lot of money to get back up on our feet. And we are hoping and believe that the Horizon Council will have some sort of input and voice in how that money is going to be distributed and used. So absolutely phenomenal for our community. Event coming up, Edison Awards. I don't know if anybody in this room has attended parts of the Edison Awards, but just to give you a little flavor, I believe prior to us, this was held in different cities throughout the U.S., but since we have strong ties to Mr. Thomas Edison, the awards are now here, and as we'll hear from Bill in a few minutes, it looks like that's going to continue. So that's April 19th through the 21st. The purpose of the Edison Awards is to recognize the most innovation of products in the world. So there's, if you go on the website, which is edisonawards.com, it's unbelievable the people that have won in the past. And just to give you a flavor for the finalists this year are companies like Cirrus Aircraft, and one of their products is they have I don't know if anybody's in aviation here, but they have an aircraft that has a parachute. They'll bring the entire plane down safely. So that's one of the reasons they're a finalist. DuPont, maybe you've heard of, Honeywell, American Red Cross, Moderna, which we didn't hear about until a few years ago. So to have that type of event in our own backyard is just absolutely huge, and you can imagine the types of folks that will be exposed to our community. So we're just super proud to be a part of that. With that, Holly had to skate out early, so for our Horizon Foundation report, Mr. Bill Johnson.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, everyone. My name, like I said before, is Bill Johnson, Jr. I'm the Executive Director of the Horizon Foundation. Just touching on what Mark said, this is the third year that the foundation, along with the council and the EDO, have been contributing sponsors. We're one of the top sponsors of the Edison Awards. I can tell you that we've been working through the night, many meetings. We have taken that sponsorship and we have sold it, and we have locked it in for the next 5 years. So the foundation, council, and EDO, we all are in partnership with the Edison Awards, so to keep that event within Lee County and Fort Myers for the next 5 years. So I am super excited to say that just from that event alone, it has brought a lot to our area. The foundation is going great. As you know, I came on board in November. Some of the things that we're looking to do is kind of refocus on our investment base, get a little bit more communication out there. We're looking to work with our investors to continue the mission of working not only with the Lee County Economic Development Office, but with all of our investor partners to foster ideas to keep the economic development engine moving within Lee County. It's a great process in everything that all of our investors have done. I won't take up too much time, but if you are not an investor, I would love to have a chat with you. Come see me after the meeting, and I can show you why it is worth your investment into the Horizon Foundation. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Bill. Bill's fairly new to the job, but wow, he came out like a cannon. He is energetic, and he is out for your membership, and is yes, and we'll be happy to tell you what all that does for us in our community. So next, our Board of County Commissioner liaison this year is Mr. Ray Sandelli, and so happy to have you back and rejoin us.
Well, good morning. It's been another busy week. I sat down, and Robbie says to me, is this Friday or Monday? I said, let's call it Wednesday, and we'll split the difference. And so it has been a crazy week. A lot of us have seen multiple events. But it's good to see everybody, and it's amazing that We're closing in on the first quarter and 6 months since the hurricane visited us, so everything seems to move fast, except the work that we're doing, and that's a little frustrating at times. I'm really looking forward personally to this today because we're going to be reviewing the economic benefits and the challenges that we have going forward. So I'm looking forward to some more speakers and some of the things we're doing. I think some of you were at the LSI Market Watch. I think it was last week. Robbie, I can't remember what it was. But it's a great program. There's a lot of data. That data is online at LSI's workshop or on their website. So if you're an information geek and you want to supplement some information, take a look at that. It's very, very well done. At the county, we've continued to review and assess the last 6 months in particular, reprioritize issues that we have to focus on. What's ahead, general economic conditions, infrastructure, water quality, all the things that we deal with every day. We have to take a look back at what came down to us where we are today, and certainly don't want to plan. So it's just a balancing act between taking care of the immediacy of today, but also planning for the long term so we don't get behind the curve that way. So balance seems to always be the key word. Kevin Wayne kicked off his campaign early for re-election. That was last night. It was extremely well attended, and Kevin's done a great job, leading the task force, and I know many of you will participate in that. So we get back to this balance of taking care of the immediacy of today, and then look at long term through the task force. I hope today, as we look at buildings and we talk about education, we talk a lot of other things, I think, to me, I hope what we don't lose fact is that it's all really about the people, and I'm looking forward to what those discussions are. The leadership and where we go depends a lot on the expertise in this room and the mentorship of all of you to the next generation. That's really our responsibility. So we're growing as a community, we're growing as people. And I saw a quote the other day, and I thought I'd just share it with you. It said, society grows great when old men and women plant trees, the shade they may never enjoy. Good people do things for other people. So go plant a tree or mentor somebody. And that's where we're going. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sandelli. Economic Development Office report, Mr. Talmadge.
Good morning. I'm going to give my report sitting down. Thank you. Today we're hosting a familiarization tour where we have colleagues from around the state and from the region. We're going to be touring Alico Road and with Ben Siegel. They're going to see the airport with Commissioner Sandelli, take a look at Skyplex, and visit Norman Love and Pravada. So we're enjoying that, but we have representatives from FP&L, Enterprise Florida, Space Florida, and then we have my colleagues, Dave Gammon from Hendry County, Keitha Daniels from Charlotte County, Keitha from Hendry County, Moni Schmies, who was with Charlotte County, Collier County, and is now with FGCU. I'm a mess tonight. And then we have our fellow board members from Career Source. Mike Wookich is here, and Bill Walsh, who's staffing is out today. Mike is the director of HR for Lee Health, and we're very happy to have him. And then Mike Biskey, who's our chairman for Career Source, is also here in the audience. But it should be an eventful day, and we'll end up at the Red Sox watching a baseball game tonight.
Thank you, John. So for our nonprofit minute, we had I Will Membership Foundation, but I believe that Jesse is not here, so he could be embroiled in the traffic from the accident or whatever, so we're going to pass over that this time. So now on to the fun and exciting stuff. So I was all excited last night when I went through this. I thought I was going to get an opportunity to introduce our speaker, but apparently that's not the case. Just kidding. Just kidding. Todd Reynolds with Hodges University, who is the Director of Special Programs, which is a phenomenal program. We were talking about it before. It's not the traditional degree-seeking type program, but gets people to work quicker. Todd, would you please come up and introduce our speaker?
Thank you. Want to first of all thank John Talmadge just for the opportunity to come in and address you and opportunity to speak. Before we get to the big news of the day, I just wanted to ask, how many of you have ever been lucky enough to be part of an aha moment? I can tell, yep, hands are up, that's great. One such moment has led us here today. 2 years ago, Dr. Meyer and I began coordinating think tank style discussions regarding the evolution of higher education and workforce development. We called on business owners, community leaders throughout Southwest Florida just to learn what was working, what's not working, and how can we actively get involved to help. With no real clear expectations going into any of these giving discussions, one such meeting was truly memorable. I might add, thinking back and just reflecting, my appreciation of that moment just continues to grow. When you consider we had the right place, it was the right time, the subject itself filled a real need, and we had the right people. The people sitting at the conference room table were all professionals with the expertise, the willingness, time, and influence to make real economic impact for the people as well as the community. It is, we believe with this council's influence and the combined support of y'all listening that the collaboration we are about to introduce between Hodges University and LabX could really catch fire and be a difference maker, Lee County, Southwest Florida, and beyond. With that, I want to give you Will Glaser, the president of LabX, to come up and expand on our vision.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Let's see. Make sure this is working first. So, as you've heard a couple times, my name's Will. If you would like to ever reach out to me, feel free to do so on LinkedIn. It's the Today's Business card. I knew that was alive and well when I'm at a conference and somebody nudged me and held up their QR code on their LinkedIn app. I was like, oh, things are changing. So feel free to reach out at any time. I love collaborating, and I'm having flashbacks to my first days and working with the city. And so a little bit about myself is started in entrepreneurship when I was 20, focusing on restoring watersheds in northern Indiana. My wife and I moved to Naples, Florida, just about 16 years ago. And at that time, I'm going to give you a little background story because it's kind of leading all into why we're discussing things with you all today. I was working at a mental health clinic, and at that clinic, I saw a need in having some background in entrepreneurship. I saw that there was an opportunity to be doing some concierge health opportunities. And at the time, the clinic that I was working at, it was just brick and mortar. So I approached the CEO, the CFO, the COO with a full-blown plan on, hey, I think there's an opportunity for a development in systems that could grow within the systems that you're already doing here. And each comment was met with, no, thank you, we're not interested, and get back to your job. So I was insubordinate, thankfully, and I went ahead and just started that venture on my own. Flash forward, we are operating not just within Collier, but Lee, Sarasota, Tampa, Orlando, all the way through Georgia. So that paints a picture that I want you to, hold in your memory banks there for a minute because it's going to add to our story. So a part of that process, working with individuals with mental health, I kept seeking answers, the Disney level up, that next level of care, and what more can we do for our clients? And I thought, well, let's see what neurologists can offer. And I drove a patient over to Dan Marino, met a neurologist who's now here, Dr. Jose Colon, very talented man. And I said, I want to know some answers. And he said, well, I was hoping you were going to tell me because we know very little about the brain. Well, that was a very defeating moment. And if we've all done the Alligator Alley drive, and you really start to learn about yourself on that drive, unless you have a really good audiobook. And I, staring out into the distance, feeling like I had done a disservice to the individual I had taken, right then and there I realized I have to do something about this. And being very comfortable in that environment, I decided, what is out there on the neurological side that we can learn more for individuals, and this individual couldn't speak. I wanted to know more. I wanted to do more for this individual. So I ended up creating a company, top left-hand corner, brain guy, Neurotech. Neurotech's focus was what is out there for neurological technology and what is something that we could create as a business, and also the ultimate goal of applied to the individuals I was trying to help. During that time, I reached out to FGCU, said what I was up to, ended up bringing in over 20 interns, and to their dismay, I only had a 10 by 10 office that they all had to pack in. And I just said, well, you're just like the lab rats that are in the room. And during that time, Dr. Bear, who oversaw the engineering department, asked to meet with me, and he said, who the heck are you? And what are you doing? And how did we have 20 successful interns come through where you have no real background and no business doing this? And I explained, and I thought I was going to get reprimanded. Instead, I got promoted. He said, I think that you would be fitting in a spot that it's called the Emergent Technologies Institute. And I think that you fit a really good mold that we're trying to create there. So we moved out, and being surrounded with other entrepreneurs, that really just unfortunately lit a fire for me. I say unfortunate, for my wife, as she's like, wow, more, okay. And that led to meeting other individuals in the science community and seeing the opportunity and working with students and also professionals in the community. That led to another company that you see up there, Gulfstream Energy, that's focusing on developing an underwater turbine that produces power. And, excuse me, so this turbine currently right now is being prototyped and developed for the Prime Minister of Bahamas. To shorten it down very quickly, it's about 2,000 of these, the size of a semi-trailer, can power the entire Bahamas. $60,000 a piece. Our return on investment is about 2.5 years conservatively. So it can really do a lot of benefit. We're talking with multiple counties on pretty much anywhere there's a waterway. We can place these turbines, and they're rapidly developed, they're easily placed. And then just because we thought we had enough time on our plate, we decided to start Space Tech. And I'm trying to rush through this. If you'd like to reach out and hear, please schedule a time to come out and meet me at the ETI at FGCU. I'd love to talk to you more about it. I know there's a lot on the agenda for today, very exciting stuff that's happening in the county. So I'm trying to rush through this, but decided to get into the space market. And so all this was happening, and if you walk into the lab, it's a lot going on. So identifying that we needed to brand it something, so I decided to call it LabX. It's just a place where someone can come in and work with emergent technologies. And each one of these companies, we'd partner and reach out to, the person that invented the small satellite, Bob Twiggs. Reached out to him, would you be a mentor? Yes. In Gulfstream Energy, there's multiple people, even all the way up to the Page brothers of Google, that reach out in mentorship. So we're not just kind of winging it, we're surrounding ourselves. A lot of synergy to the programs that Hodges are building. And so that's a little bit of what we have going on. Example of the technology, the turbine, satellite, brain technology. So a question that keeps coming up when someone comes and visits the lab is, this is great. And, it wasn't an easy path for me to get into this field. And it's not exactly, it shouldn't necessarily be something that it's applauded, because this is not an area you do this at. The first question is, why are you doing this here? And how do you plan to sustain? And it's a very hard question to answer because it has to be homegrown. And a lot of, you want to always look at an individual's motivation of operation, right? What's my MO? What's my drive here? And I can selfishly say, I have 2 children that I adore, and I would love the opportunity that they look beyond just hospitality, golf, and would like to maybe stay here for some cool jobs. and we produce more cool jobs. And the idea of students in schools, and I know there are some doing some really great things, but this area, not saying that those categories I mentioned are bad, but in addition, why can't we be an emergent technology area? Why can't we be known as a successful Silicon Valley? And that has to come from talent. And painting a picture of what I had to experience, and when someone reaches out and says, from a company that's employed and says, I have an idea, to it be fostered, to not be pushed aside. So just giving some facts and data on the screen here. Indeed ran an ad or a survey where they're asking, are you thinking about creating your own company? About 49% of individuals noted that they are thinking about starting their own company. Kaufman put out another that 25% are expressing the desire. So now it's bumping up from just interested, now we're expressing, we're letting people know, and they have a plan in 5 years to start their own company. Now keep in mind, these are all employed individuals. And then another report from Global Monitor showed that 14% were in active development. So that number just keeps getting higher and higher. From that 50%, 14 start to act, and as we all know, in entrepreneurship, it's an even smaller amount that actually succeeds. I want to paint a picture of two tales. I'm not sure if many of you have heard, but 3M has a 15% policy where they allow their employees to spend about 15% of their time creating new opportunities within the company that they actually would benefit from, be a stakeholder in, whether it be profit share or equity, whatever the terms are. Post-it notes, Scotch Guard. So that's a culture within the community of 3M that's fostered. And so keep that in mind. Let's tell another tale. These are all of the companies that have been spun out from SpaceX. SpaceX alone, which is getting into the space field. It's a very, very, very small field. There's not a lot of players. So all of these companies add up to about $30 billion in revenue. $30 billion that potentially, Gwen Shotwell, who's, in my opinion, the real CEO of SpaceX, Gwen said that it would have equated to another $30 billion to their $100 billion valuation. It wouldn't have been that hard to encourage that 3M model at SpaceX. So the question is, back to the talent, right? How are we going to get this talent in these areas from the stories I shared with me personally? And how are we going to find, love them or hate them, these three individuals on the screen, they started a fire. And it was just one individual, right? It just takes one individual to go through and really change an entire economy. And they all share very, hard knock stories of beginning. So when I met with John and Todd and Mr. Talmadge, we were sitting around and the question came up on a tour of the lab of how could we be getting this more into this community. And the idea came up is that a lot of individuals are like myself. They were back at that clinic and they wanted to start something. But for all of the reasons that are obvious, we don't pursue. It starts with 50 and it's probably more. Thanks to Insta Reels constantly letting us know how everybody else is succeeding and how you should be too. There's a lot of opportunity out there, but the opinion has always been when it comes to business, it's hard knocks. Go figure it out. The strongest will survive. But we don't do that with our children, do we? We set up the best possible scenario for success. So if all we need is that one Bill Gates, that one Steve Jobs, that one Elon Musk that can develop a company that's worth hundreds of billions of dollars and more companies to be springing out, shouldn't we be actively looking at these individuals within our own community? So that's what I'm coming to you with, is that we should be actively looking, not outwardly, because that's just a lot of work. It doesn't scale. The scale is the people that are here. You in this audience, you have probably thought of ideas or are actively pursuing it right now. That's why you're here. So we as a community should be supporting and lifting these people up. So it's not presenting to you a makerspace. It's actually became a very dirty word, think lab. It's not doing that. Anybody can make a playground and a sandbox. What we need to be doing is specifically looking through, creating a team that identifies these firebrand. I didn't know even this word existed, but a firebrand is a word for someone that stands out, feels very strong about an idea, and will take risks to see it through. So kind of homogenizing the Hodges approach with really trying to push through that individual to hang that shingle. The LabX approach of working with emergent technology and learning how to bring in high-level mentors and elevate that real bleeding edge, groundbreaking opportunities, and the idea of seeking out to the community. We don't exactly have this all figured out. That's why we're meeting today, is that we'd like support, we'd like other people to join us in this idea of it's us going and letting the community know that there's a program in place that if you're currently employed, we're not limited to, but our first action plan to this will be if you're currently employed and you have an idea, so it could go to business owners or just the individual themselves, that we follow that 3M model of we go out and we say, hey, there's a program set up. It's not, you don't have to pay for it. You have to qualify. So if you see on the board that you have active participants, it goes through a vetting process. So there's a panel. There's a little bit of a Shark Tank to vet, is this viable? There's no limits to how many times you can apply. And that team to sit down and evaluate, is this person a firebrand? Is this person really going to take an idea and really change the economy and change the local landscape for business? And then very similar to a lot of accelerators, this individual will be courted through as far as building and forming their company and helping assisting launch, and surrounded with the community's support. And this idea, it's to be very finite, it's to be very concise, but it's also it's a solar system, it's a global thing, because it shouldn't be just affecting Hodges, LabX. It's not about that. It's just kind of a starting point to getting access to these individuals. There's other maker spaces. I was just introduced to Babcock Ranch has an innovation space. It sounds really fascinating. There's FGCU has an awesome entrepreneurship degree, potentially this person that makes their way through this program. We determine and we encourage, or maybe this individual feels that, you know what, it's not really getting this out into the public now. I'd like to continue on my education, and then I'd like to pursue it forward from there. So it's involving everyone in the community to rally around these firebrand individuals and really foster that opportunity of that person that's sitting at their job and saying, man, if only someone would hear my idea and what I'd be happy to do, and I don't want to take that risk. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to take that loan out. Well, we don't even know if that money's in the bank right now, as they're seeing in the news, but there's plenty of us in the community that would benefit from these opportunities. And thank you very much for your time. Look forward to answering any questions. Thank you.
Well, we certainly have some time for questions. Questions? Go ahead, Randy.
That's a great question. So right now we have pinned that the price would be around $15,000 for the individual to go through the process. That's just an estimate. So when speaking with Hodges, this has to be taking place somewhere, and that the Hodges was already setting up a program that was expediting people just hang a shingle. Anybody that's looking to start a business. So we were looking at that would be a great place to start this, because it's a landing place and it's a system that it's about 16 weeks, Todd? Okay, so it's a program that we want to seek action. I like action. I don't I don't want to delay for too long as far as an individual and opportunity, and it also will vet the process. So it's two parts. It's the income, and it's the place that houses it, and then while we're vetting those individuals, it's customized. So if someone comes and they want to get into the space field, or someone wants to get into the biomedical, that's a different group of specialists that we'd have to be potentially pulling in, and that cost factor, that's going directly to potentially these individuals that would have to be 1099, that would have to be an advisor, or that we'd have to bring in different tools and assets for that individual. So I want to continue on with this, and I think it's a really good point. The program itself is about getting individuals to become successful. If the group that we're identifying called Firebrand, if Firebrand in itself isn't successful, should it sustain? No. So if these individuals are not successful, we shouldn't just keep going and moving forward. I think that's the definition of insanity. So what I propose is that it's actually self-feeding. So a portion of the success of these individuals is actually fed back into the program. So initially we will be seeking for grants, NSF, local support, sponsorships for that support for the you could call it scholarship for that individual to go through the program, but with the ultimate goal of setting a milestone that it's from the success of the individuals of their bottom line, of their net receivables, that will go back into the program, which will be the success.
Can you tell me how you're working with SBDC on this, or are you, or should you be?
I'm really bad with acronyms.
Small Business Development Center at FTCU.
We haven't approached, but as I mentioned on that solar system slide, it's going to be a part of that vetting process of reaching out to all of the different groups and having their insights on how this walkthrough could be.
I just think a lot of there might be some redundancy in, especially the business startup.
Learning from any other group that what of their systems they have in place would be extremely beneficial.
Thank you very much for the presentation, and I like the work of Firebrands. I got to work that into the whole deal. I've been involved with a number of young groups, as I went through my career, and I was sitting in Naples one day, and there was a group of young people, and I said, "Why did you choose here, to get involved?" And they said two things. One is intellectual capital. There are people here that have run companies that you could probably never have talked to when they were involved. But now they're here, their minds are still active, and they love that discussion. And if they bite on your idea, the second thing is they got the capital to support it. And so while we look at the Firebrands and we bring those people up, I hope that, because I'm going to be 75 this year, I hope there's still a place somewhere in this equation for me, but I hope we take advantage of the senior people. And I mentioned in my opening comments here, a lot of people here will be the leaders, will help develop the leaders for tomorrow. And I think that's an important part of the equation. Thank you for your presentation. It was fascinating.
Yeah, on that note, as I mentioned, all the advisors from each startup, there's several individuals in the community. This is a great place to retire, and a benefit, an added benefit to that is there's a lot of people with a lot of talent that are in the area, like yourself, that and every category is different. And so the more that we reach out, not only to the campaign for letting the community know, letting individuals, potential cadets know, but it's also letting the community know about being a contributing member. If you have some of that background, why let it go to waste on a golf course? Why not contribute it into the future, planting that tree you mentioned?
Just a question, and it's really tied to the funding mechanism, and I'm not sure if there is a connection or if it's even a logical connection, but are you familiar with the Angel Fund group down in Naples? I think it's Tim Cartwright. Yeah, would that even ever make sense would there a connection with your group, ever make sense for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Any and all. That's the entrepreneurship spirit. And any and all. Absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think just a follow-up to Gary's question. So with the SBDC, funded by the SBA and we have access to 20-plus consultants at no cost as entrepreneurs. You sign up. But again, that's more like financial management, operations, sales. It sounds like in your model, it's, all right, now who's that superstar expert that can really provide guidance in that whether it's a narrow field or in that field? Is that?
That's correct. And we will still need that expertise, because we want to, I go back to, raising a child, and it used to be it takes a village, but, and it still should be, that we want to have that same mentality. I don't think there's any shame in that. We want to wrap this individual with as much support and expertise as possible, because we want them to succeed. And they're also going to be that much more passionate about this area, right? Just the same way that a child's passionate about their family. It's that you can always tell the athlete that had the parents that were there supporting them, because that's the person they want on the stage with them when they get the trophy. So the more professionals that we have involved and wanting to assist lift these people up, because ultimately it's going to take that Elon Musk to wake up every day and to push through and to get these things done. So those supporting people, they're going to be crucial to make sure that they're encouraged and moving along the way. So again, it goes back to that any and all, anybody that will come and want to contribute and be a benefit. And also, a lot of these advisors, while they're assisting, we have to look at, as I mentioned, it's self-feeding. We're not going to be constantly looking for a handout with this. It needs to be sustaining. It needs to be standing on its own. It needs to be in itself making money to produce. This isn't looking to directly benefit myself. I'm looking to indirectly, because it's creating industry, right? So if somebody's coming in and they make that mentorship with that individual, there's nothing to say that when that person develops their company, that they pull in Todd or they pull in Rick or Sandy, that whoever was working with them on that mentorship, they want them on the team. I mean, we don't have any rules to play by as far as that. They could potentially have a future with that individual because they were there for them.
One more question, if we have one. All right. Commissioner, I think we all know you, and you still have that fire. No problems there. And Ben, when I think of SpaceX, I think of planes, I think of you. So maybe there's something you can do. You think of yes, when you think of the fighting angels. Incidentally, mentioned the Edison Awards earlier, and to give you an idea what a big deal this is, of the three people that he showed in the picture, or Will showed in the picture there, Elon Musk and Steve Jobs are prior winners of the Edison Award. So just to kind of wrap your arms around that. Voting member input. Go ahead, Karen.
Okay. Tying into the Edison Awards, the speaker today, what perfect timing. You could be the next internationally recognized innovator at the Edison Awards. It's just mind-blowing what you shared with us today, and very exciting. Thank you very much for that. I had planned to make this announcement, so it ties in perfectly as well. My newspaper, Southwest Florida Business Today, published its second section for the first time in its history, 16-year history, and that whole second section is about the Edison Awards. It is everything Edison that we could possibly gather. It's the first time we've done this, and I did bring copies with me today. If anybody wants to see that, you can just come and see me, and I've got copies here, and I've got more in the car so that you can get your arms around just exactly what that includes and how important it is. Everybody's mentioned it up here today, how important that is to our region, and how our speaker today ties right into that whole thought mindset. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm horribly excited. So thank you very much.
Good morning. I would just like to, one, thank you. I will be reaching out to you because I have a bunch of questions and probably nominations for the program. But NeoGenomics is hosting the April 1st from 4 to 9 American Cancer Society for the Relay for Life. So if you are available, I would encourage you, highly encourage you, to come and participate with that. The event theme is Building a World Without Cancer, so I think we can all appreciate that. I know BNI is a strong partner, and I saw their team built there. So if you have any questions or want to sign up, you can go to American Cancer Society, their website, and all the information's on there. Again, April 1st from 4 to 9.
Any other input? Great. Well, I appreciate it. Will, appreciate you being here. Exciting. It's beyond my little brain power to even think about the things that you do. So, so I appreciate it. I'd like to thank Dr. Jerry Albritton and Southwest State College for having us today. And the Economic Development Office is, I can tell you from being now on the inside, it's amazing what those folks do every day, day in and day out. How they do it with the staff they have is just absolutely amazing. So if there's no further comments, we'll take a motion to adjourn. Thank you. I guess I didn't do the follow-up. Is there anybody opposed to adjourning this? Well, everybody was packing up like 15 minutes ago, so.